ChatGPT is perhaps the most talked about tech in recent years. There is so much hype around an AI chatbot at the moment. Apparently, it's going to take the job of copywriters, which means you'll never have to write an email again. And depending who you listen to, it's going to do everything and anything. We're an AI coaching platform, so should we be scared of ChatGPT? No, not at all. To demonstrate this, we need a test. We asked ChatGPT to write a training plan for an amateur cyclist and analyze its results. Using the prompt, write a cycling training plan for an amateur cyclist, this is what ChatGPT told us. So the results it's given us, here's a training plan for an amateur cyclist that covers a 12-week period. Remember to adjust the plan accordingly to your fitness level, schedule, and goals. Yep, spot on. So we've got 3 blocks, weeks 1 to 4, weeks 5 to 8, weeks 9 to 12, and some additional tips. Yeah, like that. Now let's break down weeks 1 to 4. So what am I seeing here? So Monday to Sunday, Monday with a rest day, 45 minutes steady on Tuesday, Wednesday you got some interval training, sort of 30-second efforts, Thursday another 45 minutes, Friday 60, Saturday 90, Sunday 60. Overall, I think this is a quite well-rounded plan. Obviously, we're not quite sure what the goal is just yet. So you got some, short end power efforts, say, 30 seconds with some 30 seconds rest. And then on Sunday, you've got some 2-minute efforts that are sort of starting to sort of stretch, not stretching your VO2, but just starting to dip into the VO2 while 30 seconds, a little bit more anaerobic capacity type of work. Now, the thing that really sticks out to me here is perhaps the lack of rest. So we've got Monday's 1 rest day, you have Tuesday, you have Thursday, and you have Saturday as moderate pace riding. So to me, moderate pace means zone 3, and it's perhaps a little bit too hard, especially when you've got these hard intervals of the 30 seconds, 2 minutes, and riding up a climb. Now, this riding up the climb, 60 minutes of hill repeats. I like the sort of simple nature of it. Go find a climb, ride it up repeatedly for 5 minutes at a time. But I don't think this is accounting for any time, right into the climb, cooling down. So I perhaps give a little bit more targeted guidance for what the intensity you should be riding on this climb, because it's like, you're going easy, you're going hard, you're going medium. What type of gears are you going to be riding? Now looking at weeks 5 to 8, I can instantly start seeing here, we've got a bit of progression. So now you've got sort of 12 sets instead of 10 sets for the 30-second efforts. The Sunday's ride is going from 6 sets to 8 sets, and now instead of 2 minutes, it's going to 3 minutes. So it's starting to, step up, which is quite nice. And it's even bumping up the duration of the moderate pace rides. Yep, okay, that's cool. Again, sticks out to me, not enough rest. You should be sort of doing more easy riding, especially as the intensity is lifting. Otherwise, you're going to start burning yourself out. And also for the 30-second efforts. So this is obviously going to be dependent on what your goal is. I would either start to increase the recovery duration in between, because you're starting to ride a lot of efforts, or I would make it punchier. So go say 20-second efforts with a bit more recovery and 40 seconds recovery. Then moving into weeks 9 and 12, look, this is the hardest block of the training plan. You've got doing the most volume and the most amount of intensity. We'll say, look at Sunday session, 90 minutes of interval riding, 10 sets of 4 minutes hard effort followed by 4 minutes rest. So if I say hard effort, is that like zone 5? So you're doing 40 minutes of zone 5 work on a Sunday that you're repeating 4 times in this block after you've already done 8 tough weeks. Personally, I think that's a lot. I think you have to be really fit to achieve that session. I think that's intense. And I'm also thinking now you've done 8 weeks of like structured riding. I think there's a lack of flex here where you may want to do an online race or do commutes or do the bunch rides. Where do you fit that within your riding? And look, unless you love, riding solo all the time. And again, just not enough rest. Like there's a thing here, like you only can pick one. You either keep increasing your intensity, but then you don't necessarily increase your volume. If you start increasing both, you can handle it for a little bit, but then you'll just get to a point where you'll just start burning out. And now digging into the additional tips. Okay, so in addition to the specific rides listed in the plan, you should aim to ride at least 1 to 2 easy rides per weekday to recovery. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock, but where do you do that within this plan? Proper nutrition, hydration, sleep, 100%. To get through this workload, eating carbs, sleeping well, hydrating, it's a must. Third point, remember to gradually increase the duration and intensity of your rides throughout the plan to avoid injury and burnout. I'm a little bit confused here. So if you're increasing the duration and intensity of your rides, I don't think it avoids injury and burnout. Maybe it might avoid mental burnout because you're doing slightly different things. Well, unless I'm missing the point completely here. Incorporate strength and flexibility training to improve your overall performance and reduce risk of injury. Like, yes, but to the everyday rider, if you want to put a strength block of gym work in here, and that's tough. And then you've got your family, you've got work, you've got social occasions. You're pretty much a full-time athlete if you want to add in sort of strength work, which I don't think you should with this level of intensity, but flexibility, 100%. It's not just flexibility for the bike, but I just think for, general living, like, I work on a computer all day, my posture's terrible. I've got to work on my flexibility. So where can ChatGPT improve on this training plan? One, I would suggest to you to ride a benchmark test before you start this training plan or any new training plan in general. I think riding an FTP or 1 minute or 5 minute sort of power test, depending on what demand you're looking to test that's aligned to your goal. You should ride one before the training plan, one in the middle and one at the end. For me, that's the ultimate metric to decide if you're making progress or not. Within these blocks, weeks 1 to 4, 5 to 8, 9 to 12, I would definitely be including a recovery week. So, really reducing, your volume by 50 to 70%, or at least your intensity. And something that we do in Spoke is that we track your sort of health stats. So your sleep, your mental and physical freshness, but we also look at your training data from a 5-day, 14-day workload to create a readiness score for you. And I think with this readiness score, it creates an objective measure for you to decide, hey, I'm a little bit knackered, because we always have this little voice telling us that we should be doing more. But in reality, it's the recovery weeks is where the gains are made if we've been training smart. And my last point for improvement around this is that I think you need to have some flex. Like if things sort of pop up or you want to do more workload or less workload, what should you do the following day? So just say weeks 5 to 8, you did 14 sets of these 30-second efforts by 30 seconds rest. Should you do 14 sets next week? Should you be adjusting the amount of time that you ride up the hill? Should you knock off, instead of those 8 sets, should you make it do it 7 sets this week? I think it lacks a little bit of guidance in that for when things pop up, because in reality, maybe 1% of the population, if you got family, work, social, can follow this training plan to a T. So if I was to continue using this tool, and I know you can sort of keep plugging in questions, I would, number one, instead of sort of saying, write a training plan for an amateur cyclist, I'd say, write a training plan for an amateur cyclist that's looking to ride an alpine sportive with an FTP of 220 per week that can only ride 6 to 8 hours per week. Really drill down and make that training plan personalized to you. Then when it generates this training plan and it gives you the workouts, you need a little bit more guidance. So I would plug in the session. So just say, for example, 60 minutes interval training, 10 sets by 30 seconds, hard effort followed by 30 seconds rest. Put that in and saying, what's the best way to approach these 30 seconds efforts? Let them define what a hard effort should be. Because in reality, they should be drawing back to your zones, which is set by your FTP. And you're obviously riding a little bit, probably zone 6, a little bit above, looking at your previous training data. So it's a little bit open-ended. So I think you can really drill down by plugging these workouts into the tool. And the last thing that comes to mind is the nutrition and hydration. So again, plug the workouts in and saying, what is proper nutrition? What is proper hydration? What should be my targets? And if your targets are saying 80, that's a lot of grams of carbs that you've got to consume every hour. So I'd say, look, I'm only consuming 30 grams. You suggest I need to get to 80. What's the best way of getting there? And the thing is that you can keep asking it these questions to try and make it personalized to you. But at the end of the day, the problem with ChatGPT, it offers the same as the off-the-shelf training plan. And this is the exact opposite what Spoke offers you. If you give the chatbot a prompt, look, it's going to spew out a training plan. But the thing is, it's not going to be personalized to you. It's not going to know how fatigued you are, what your aims are, or even look at any previous training data, which is your history and even your data now, to adjust next week's training plan. It is no different to going to a website and downloading a training plan PDF that any regular coach has put together. The difference between ChatGPT and Spoke is we are personalized to you. Anyone can enter a training prompt into ChatGPT and receive a plan, but it is missing one key training demand, and that is specificity. If you want to see more content about training and experience of an ex-pro cyclist, then hit the subscribe button. It's completely free after all.